Hey, everybody, welcome back again. I have so much to talk about. I've been talking so much about Hearthstone's Titans cards and the expansion for the past 48 hours now. My voice is still going strong, so that's awesome. And one of the coolest things I've done this entire week, and that's after the pack opening, and that's after looking at all the new cards and reviewing all the cards, is I get the chance to talk to Imik, who I don't know if you know this, but everybody needs to know this. He's an amazing force on both Twitter and on hearthstone.com.
.com.
Excuse me. Thank you. Um, he is able to find information regarding the game that everybody should know about, and that other people would be like, wow, didn't even think that was possible. So, Imik, thank you so much for spending time with me. Can you just
What's up?
give me a quick couple of minutes on, what your thoughts and feelings are about Hearthstone? What got you motivated to do this deep dive into Hearthstone like you have been doing?
Yeah, like I have started playing in 2013, I believe, in beta. Um, One of my friends brought me into the game. Then I stopped for a while because I did not have the beta key. Um, then I somehow learned that the game is out after like 3 months of not playing. So I started, I believe, from season 4 again.
Okay.
Then I started. I don't know. I somehow fell in love with the game. Um, I started doing some content on Facebook, in our local group with people. Um, yeah, I hit legend for the first time in like 2 seasons after getting into the game. Completely free to play. Um, what else? Yeah, and then from that point, I started posting cards on the Facebook group. Um, then I made my Twitter account in 2015, I believe, and from that point, I just started skyrocket with the content and
Okay.
post stuff that not people at the time were doing. Like I watched developer interviews and I made a summary of all the answers, for example, on Reddit and and Twitter and so on. And uh, that's basically how I got my job because the boss reached out to me after he saw one of my posts on Reddit because the previous owners sold it to the new one, so they were looking for new content creators on Hardbound. And they saw my Reddit posts about these summaries from developer interviews and other stuff that no one else was doing at the time, and they just like asked me if I would like to join them, and that's how it started, and it's continuing. I'm trying to improve our website, my Twitter, everything together somehow with the powers I have, which are somehow limited because I'm still like I'm not a staff member. I mean, I am like inside staff, but I'm not a moderator or something like that. I'm just a content creator for them. So I just write articles, and I can't access like the deep web stuff or deep like back end stuff of the website.
Right.
So I'm just trying like to improve the, because we have like in what's it called, uh, like an UI where you write the HTML and CSS stuff, and that's all I can do.
Okay.
Um, so it's not like permanent on the website. I have to ask the developers to do that, and yeah, they are not that willing to spend that much time on all my ideas. Let's say.
I get it. Listen, like I love what you guys have been doing over there at Hearthstone. Up until very recent, I hadn't dug into the site as much as possible, just because there's information overload. There's so much stuff out there
Yeah,
for this.
it's
But
crazy.
some of the items that you've been doing for the site and you've been helping for, it's like, I run a primarily this is a news channel. Like, I'm trying to find the news and information, and you just are on top of it. Every time I'm like, okay, I need to check on this. I need to check on this. I know that, sites like Hearthstone and, people like you on Twitter are just on top of it. And I really appreciate it. And the way the site is built, right now it's great for content creators. It's better than it's ever be. So the idea was, let's go ahead, and because Titans is coming out in just a couple of days, and you and I both opened our packs. Some of us are luckier than others. I opened my
Well, that's a
packs
little
and I
bit.
got 8 legendaries, and Imik got, how many legendaries did you get off of this one?
15.
15. And he also pulled a signature. I didn't pull a signature yet. But anyway, so what
Yeah.
we'll do is, for this conversation, the two of us are just going to get together and we're just going to riff on each one of the classes, how they're represented in Titans, what's the good, what's the bad, what's the ugly. And listen, with this expansion, there's no ugly here. Every card is just amazing artwork. So, all right, Ibik, you ready to rock and roll?
Yep. Let's do it.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so for Death Knight, Death Knight has been strong for many, many moons now. As soon as it first came out, it was a little weak, and then they made some little tweaks, and next you know, it's off to the races. It's been a dominant force in the meta for a while now. Maybe not as much since Audio Apocalypse mini set came out, but how do you think the cards look for Titans for Death Knight?
Mm, I like the new what are called the runes card? No, not runes. What are the
The
runes?
plagues?
Yeah, the plagues.
Plagues are cool.
Yeah, the plagues are super cool. I just wish they weren't that limiting, because they're basically limited to only 2 unholy and 1 frost.
Right.
Because otherwise you can't play like full unholy or 1 blood and 2 unholy, because they just made them limited for these specific reasons. So maybe I would have liked if they somehow made the restrictions a little bit like lower.
Less restrictive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
yeah, but
I think that some of the I think that some of the plagues have absolute awesome potential, but I don't know if it's 100% ready yet.
mhm,
I think there's a potential there, but how much is that different from corpse synergy or corpse interactions or what have you?
mhm.
So we've got the runes, we've got corpses, and now we have plague synergies. Is that too much for Death Knight? And that's what I'm worried about. Worried about the situation to where, the class can't pick a specific lane and maybe it becomes too complicated. What do you think about the Titans for Death Knight?
Like, you
Excuse me,
mean, oh,
the Titan for
okay.
Death Knight.
Yeah,
Got it
this
up on
one
the screen
looks
here.
super nice. I like that it's not restricted with the runes. So you can play it in whatever deck you want. I feel like I would probably prefer to play this one in Blood Decay rather than aggro decks. But for sure, it feels like a good addition to the Death Knight class because of the
Absolutely.
versatility. Yeah, it's just a great tool, I feel like.
Yeah, for me, for Death Knight, this specific Titan, I would put this in any Death Knight deck to try it out. Not only for, listen, each one of these abilities are super powerful, but the other thing I like
Mm-hmm.
here is, after you use that ability, you're pulling a card, you're discovering a card with that
Yep.
rune. So if you're not using any blood, if you're not using any blood synergies, boom, you start having blood cards in your deck. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that's super cool. And then if we're looking at the other cards, so if we're looking at like the Keeper, hell yeah, shuffle all 3 plagues in your opponent's deck. Plagues they draw this game are unending. I think that's super cool synergy. I think that each one of the cards that I'm seeing here, from Distressed Cavalier Tomb Trader down with the ship. They're pretty cool. The one thing I've noticed, and I have to give a shout out to the group at Amber Flight Gaming because they mentioned this to me. Chained Guardian.
Mhm.
To throw this out here. So Chained Guardian is an 11 mana 8/5 in the Rush Reborn, and it's costs one less for each plague shuffled into the enemy deck this game. So we're looking at this as, hey, this is pretty powerful. If you're using plagues, there's very good synergy there. You can get this down super low. But the one thing I wasn't even thinking of until I talked to them today is we could be seeing this in the Evolved Shaman comp. You know what I mean? Like if we're
Okay.
sitting there and we're seeing like the, move
Mhm.
one mana above or one mana below or what have
Yeah.
you, we could start seeing this in the shaman comp. And I think shamans are a little busted in terms of
Uh-huh.
what's coming up, especially for this expansion. What are your thoughts on that?
Mhm. Are there any 10 mana cards that you want to evolve into the Chain
I don't
Guardian?
know. I don't know. It's just they mentioned it, and it's just like, you know what?
Yeah,
Or even a
it's
9 mana card, even an
potentially.
8 mana card. There's
Mhm.
with spell damage and with all the other pieces that Shaman has, I think that we're gonna see this more in evolve type decks than this one.
Mhm.
I don't hate the card. I don't hate
Mhm.
the cost and what have you. It's just how many plagues are going to be able to shuffle into each enemy's each deck that one game to make that a small amount for you to play it
Mhm.
pretty quickly.
I don't like that it's not an undead. I feel like that's the worst part about the
Oh,
card.
that's true.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like from the previews or theory crafting streams that we have seen, it can go down really quickly. I like the synergy with the Titan and Helia. You can discover Helia from the Titan
Yep.
potentially if you pick Unholy. So you can, or yeah, you can play like a Blood DH and DK at night. Whatever.
Yeah. No, I get
Yeah,
that.
and then you can get a Helia from it. So
And
that could be nice.
to make sure everybody sees that's watching this right now, the plagues. It's the blood plague, which is cast when drawn, and remember this goes into your opponent's hand, so your opponent's deck. So
Deck.
cast when drawn, take 2 damage and restore 2 health to the enemy hero, which would be us. And then there's the frost plague, which is take 2 damage. Your next card costs 1 more, up to 10. And then there's also the unholy plague, which is cast when drawn, take 2 damage, summon a 2/2 undead for your opponent. And I think this has that snowball effect. I think that if you're fighting an opponent and the opponent you're trying to knock them down, this is just taking continuous tick damage the more plagues you throw out there. And to caveat that or to counter that is, do you think in this meta with all the other classes that you've seen and all the other cards from the other classes do you see this being too slow, like the plague synergy?
Um, yeah, I'm not really sure how good it's going to be. Like, if you are steady, you always draw the plagues if your opponent plays it. But
Right.
um, because I've seen like uh his theory crafting, and every single time his opponent played it, he immediately draw the plague. So, but
Yeah.
otherwise, I feel like it's a little bit too slow. But in certain control matchups, it's probably really good in the late game or from mid to late game. Because as you shuffle more of them and they stack and you reshuffle them back with if you played Helia, then it can be kind of scary.
Okay. So looking at all the cards for Death Knight, in your opinion, do you feel that Death Knight is going to be um a higher power level than it was just right now, or lower power level than it was right now, or do you think it's going to maintain the same type of power level as it is right now in the meta?
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's going to be higher power level because these cards are like creating a new archetype that I have no idea how it's going to perform. There are no frost synergies, blood decay synergies, so these were the two decks that were previously good as well. And they get basically nothing from this expansion except the Titan Primus.
Okay.
And I don't think you're running these plagues in Unholy that night. So I don't know. It creates like a new archetype, completely new archetype that you need to play. Because you can just slam the plagues into a triple Unholy that night that you would like to play. So you need to create like something in between Frost and Unholy, which is something that we have never seen before for now. So it's hard to say, but some of the cards are looking nice.
Yeah, both from a flavor perspective and an art perspective, these are amazing. I really want plagues to work. I think plagues are amazing opportunity here. And I'm hoping that they're stronger in this meta specifically, but I'm just hoping they're stronger because I'm just a fan of it. It just sounds such a cool type of interaction that I'm interested in seeing more of. Any other
Same.
final thoughts on Death Knight before we move on down the road to the next class?
I feel like the Forge card for that night is not the best. That's the only bad card I probably see from these cards. Like that feels completely unplayable to me, for example.
Yeah, no, I see that.
Like for 3 mana, deal 3 damage, and you need to spend 3 corpses. That feels like yucky to me. But otherwise, it feels kind of nice. If the Plague that night works out.
In terms of Eulogizer, I agree with you. I think it's too weak for the what it does, even without the Forge, and then with the Forge, it's too expensive for what it gains.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, let's move on. The next discussion we will have would be Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is the next one we're going to discuss, and I have not personally been playing Demon Hunter as much as I have now since it came out. So when Outcast started showing up and when Relic Demon Hunter started showing up, I started taking more of an interest into it. So I don't know how it was, before Quest Demon Hunter. I know I used to fight against a lot of Quest Demon Hunters. So I'm interested in your opinions here, especially if you are a Demon Hunter aficionado, because I'm really liking the class more. So in terms of overall flavor and overall art, listen, it's all green, and green is one of my favorite colors. And I think you said that green was one of your favorite colors
same.
too.
Yeah.
So the art
my most
on
favorite
this
color.
is amazing. I'm very happy with what I'm seeing here. And we opened up our packs already yesterday and you this morning, and we saw some of these golden card animations, but these cards look amazing. What do you think about the Titan card of this expansion for Demon Hunter?
I feel like you slam it into the Relic DH for sure. Yep. I'm not sure about some other DHs.
I don't see this in Outcast.
Yeah, of course you don't play it in the deck because it's too quick. You probably also didn't play it in what's it called? The site.
Spell?
Yeah, spell Demon Hunter with the site or whatever it's called. Or maybe you play it? No, probably not. It's probably too slow. But for sure in Relic Demon Hunter, it's almost 0 mana at all times, so you can just play it for 0 mana, get immediate impact. For example, to reduce your hand or minions in your hand by 2 even more. That's also insane. Like all these Titans look a lot value oriented, which I like because I like value.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I like about this game to generate value and outvalue my opponents. Because I'm a control player, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In looking at some of the other ones, looking at Jotun the Eternal, which is the keeper for Demon Hunter, for the rest of the game, cast a copy of the first spell you draw each turn at enemies. I see this having a ton of potential on any one of the archetypes besides Outcast. Do you agree?
Yep. This card feels super strong. I think I put it into the S tier. And I'm glad
Yep.
I got the signature card of it today.
Did you? That's
Yeah, I opened it.
awesome. Oh, that's right. I think I saw that one. I don't remember you.
Yep.
You had so many legendary card openings. It was just
It was
hard to keep
insane.
track. Um, Mythical Terror looks cool. I would love it if it was a little bit less. For talking about a Demon Hunter, there's not a lot of cards that are above 6 mana. So a 7 mana card, even with a 3/10 and lifesteal, I'm kind of like, okay, that's a little weird. But I'm not complaining about it. Ruining Adornment, I
Same.
think it's okay. It's pretty cool for a 2 mana spell. I mean, for a 2 mana card, discover a spell that costs 3 or less, shuffle 2 copies of it that cast when drawn. I like that one. The
Same.
one thing I'm not sure about is I'm not sure about Weight of the World. I'm not a fan of giving my opponent that's not the right one. Excuse me. Weight of the World. I'm okay with this one. It's the other one that lets you draw cards for your opponent. But yeah, draw cards until you have as many
Yeah.
in your hand and your opponent as your opponent's first to. I'm not a fan of this one. When is Demon Hunter ever have a problem drawing cards?
hmm I feel like this is just an arcane intellect most of the time.
Yeah.
But it could be nice maybe in spell Demon Hunter or in Wild potentially in like the quest Demon Hunter.
Okay.
Because you can like forge it and then draw a lot of cards against control decks, reduce the whole hand by 1 mana and so on. That could be potentially playable, but I don't know if it's enough. It feels too slow a little bit.
Right. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And Momentum, I'm not sure about it. I'm a big fan of Crystalline Statue, though. The 2 mana 5/4 rush, it's dormant. And like we just said, after you draw 4 cards, this awakens. You never have a problem with card draw with Demon Hunter. So this is a super powerful 2 mana 5/4 rush card. I'm liking that. It doesn't even mean that it has
Oh,
to
it has
be
a rush.
after you draw 4 cards, not 4 cards in one turn, just 4 cards. So you know what? Throw it down. You're good. Couple of minutes from now, you're going to get a 5/4 on the board that's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, maybe people are underestimating this card a little bit. I feel like.
I think this one's a sleeper. I think this one's going to creep up and then just smack people in the face. And I'm all for it. I'm excited for it. These cards they are what they are. The Argonite Golem. I'm okay with it, give or take. I think there's other cards that we have existing that would take this place. Same with Disciple of Argus. So I'm summoning 2/2 elementals with taunt. 2/2 elementals with taunt. I don't see these cards being utility pieces when there's so many other cards out there. Same with the Eridar Deceptor. I could give and take any of those cards. Your thoughts? You agree?
Yeah, I feel like these commons are playable only in arena.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
All right. So, final thoughts on Demon Hunter. You happy? Is there some issues? You good to go?
Yeah, I like Demon Hunter. I can see running Endowment and Jotun and Argus in the Relic DH.
Yeah.
I feel like these are going to be super nice additions. Also, potentially you can play Argus, the Titan, in Big Demon Hunter. That's also possible because it's not a demon itself.
That's right. I forgot. I forgot that Big Demon Hunter was a thing. All right,
Yeah,
let's go to
as well.
Druid next. And Druid is I think, if I'm not mistaken, Druid are the two legendary class cards that I got. I got both of them, I believe. So I will be
Yep.
messing around with Druid. So to talk about A&R the Lifebinder first, I think this card is amazing. I love the ability that, when the Titan's there, after it uses one of these abilities, you have a 5/5 with taunt. And look at these. I mean, these are each one of these on their own, in terms of utility, could be game winning. Restore your hero to
Yep.
full health. How many times has that been
It's
beneficial to
insane.
Druid? All the time. Same thing with refresh your mana crystals and then draw your cards until hand is full. I'm a big fan of this card. Um, I
Same.
I understand that it's 10 mana. It's understandably 10 mana, but the ability to get that 5/5 with taunt on the board and possibly whatever else you have on the board is pretty cool. Do you like this? You crafted this one, or you got this one in packs, right?
Yeah, good one in golden from
Yeah,
packs.
perfect. I knew you had one of these in golden. You even got golden legendaries too. That's GG on
Yeah,
you.
can't wait to play
Freya,
this one.
Keeper of Nature. So I love this card. I think this card is going to be busted as well, where your choose one is duplicate your hand or summon copies of all other minions. And if you look over to Disciple of A&R, look at this Battlecry. Your next choose one card has both effects combined. Um, all of these three cards will be seen all the time in Druid. There's something brewing in Druid. If you saw the theory crafts, something's brewing with Druid, and I think it's going to be a little bit busted. But the choose one card with both effects combined is pretty big across the board, especially with Freya. Duplicate your hand or summon copies of all other friendly minions. That could game win right then and there.
Hmm. I feel like with Freya, you're most likely going to copy your hand rather than your board, because that means if you want to copy your board, that means you can copy max 3 minions
Right, right.
because of the board restrictions. Um, and what would you like to copy with Freya? I'm not sure. Like on the board, that's the question. But to copy your hand, that can be pretty valuable. So
Yeah, no, I
I can
agree.
see that one.
But what if you threw this out? Your next choose one card has both effects combined, and then you're using Freya. That could be busted as well. So there's so many
Yeah, it could be
opportunities
insane.
here. One of the things I wanted to mention is, I looked at the golden animations of these cards, and these treants and these saplings, they're just gorgeous. I mentioned
Hmm.
last night, and I think I mentioned today on your stream as well, that I have never crafted a golden deck ever. It's just something I haven't done. Um,
It
and
really? Oh.
I would really consider crafting a golden deck with all of these tokens in it, because it's just gorgeous.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know if you know that the golden tokens are bugged right now in the game, or maybe they are not bugged, but there are no token animations for these cards except like an overlay, um, like um, like a yellow overlay with some like not waving animation, but all the tokens don't have like proper animations. They just have a token overlay.
Okay.
Um,
Kind of
yeah,
like it's gleaming and it's not moving or what have
yeah,
you.
it's
Okay.
yeah,
I'll
it's
have
a
to
little
look.
bit weird. Yeah, it's in the game. Like if you inspect the cards, but I'm not sure if it's on the board as well. And if it is, that means they're cutting some budget on animations for token cards, which is something I wouldn't like to see.
No, I get it. I get it. What are your thoughts on blossoms? So this is a new. I don't think we've ever seen blossom effect in any of the
Hmm.
cards. There's frost lotus seedling and there's life binders. No, wait a minute. No, there's forest
For a
seedlings.
seedlings.
There we go.
Hmm.
Which blossoms in several turns. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't really like them at all. I feel like it's a little bit too weird to keep them in your hand for 3 turns.
Okay.
You would probably like to play, like if they were like 8 mana or maybe above 5 mana, I would probably see it that you keep them or you draw them and then you have them in hand, sit there for a few turns. But if you want to play them like uh, in your early game, it feels weird to keep like to wait on them before they bloom.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I don't really see them. But forest seedlings could be nice in token druid, I guess,
Yeah,
potentially.
I think there's something there. I think it's still a little too soon to tell. At first, I was like, okay, this is a little weird. But if it's like, if we're already holding it, if we thought about what we've done in the past, the only thing I could think of is, okay, what do you need to hold on to in your hand is the infuse keyword. So
Hmm.
if we're
Yeah.
thinking of, okay, we have to hold this in their hands for a little bit, it might be worth something. It's definitely something to try, to
Hmm.
see if it's, something powerful. And who knows, this might be something that we see much more of. But in terms of flavor for the class, I think it's spot on. It's really cool,
Hmm.
especially that their nature spells and I mean
Yep.
their nature abilities. It's cool. Cultivation is one I wanted to bring up.
Agree.
um
Ooh.
Cultivation is, from what I saw on the theory craft, is probably going to be one of the first cards to get a nerf. I don't know. I could
Yeah.
be wrong. I just
It's
think that
busted.
it's pretty busted. I think it's super fun to watch. I don't know if it'd be super fun to play against. I have a feeling that there's going to be some very, very big minions on the board that were super cheap for the opponent if the opponent is playing cultivation.
Hmm. Yeah, you play Disciple of Eonar, then you play what's it called, Drum Circle.
Yep.
Then you get like 4/6 with taunts, like 5 of them, and then you can play Cultivation as well, probably on the same turn, and you basically win the game on turn 7 or maybe
Yeah.
sooner if you have some mana that you gained before. So that's
Unstoppable
going to be
boards are coming soon.
powerful. Yeah, but I
Okay.
like this one much more than Anubrikan shenanigans, to be honest.
Oh yeah. I agree with you on that one. Yeah, so final thoughts on Druid. I am a fan. I'm interested in seeing all the final
Same.
interactions. You the same?
Yep. Embrace of
Perfect.
Nature is also probably one of the better forge spells that you or forge cards that you can play.
Which
I'm
one?
excited to see this one.
Oh,
Embrace of
Embrace of
Nature.
Nature. Yes, I should have mentioned that
Yeah.
before. It is broken as well. I don't know what it would
Yep.
do. I mean, the only thing I can think of for them to nerf that was just to add more mana to it, right?
You mean to Embrace of Nature?
Yeah, like I'm looking at that. That's super
Mm.
powerful, and I'm like, okay, the only thing they could really do to nerf that card was just to be add more mana to it.
Yeah. I don't think they would nerf it. Like it's free mana to draw the other choose one card that has both effects
Yeah,
combined.
but what if
Which is
it was
alright. I feel like
what if it was nourish? That could be
I don't know. It's
broken.
powerful, but possibly.
We'll see what happens. I think that this
Yep.
one it's I think cultivation would get something done to it before embrace of nature.
Hmm.
But it's pretty cool. All right, let's go to Hunter and let Hunter's doing pretty well right now. Hunter doesn't need any assistance. I think what certain parts of this expansion is doing for Hunter is just making it even more and more powerful. What are your thoughts on the Titan while we're talking about the Hunter?
Yeah, the Titan, I feel like you can play it in a lot of decks, just as a
Yep.
value option to draw cards, face tanks and minions. Yeah, it's a nice one. You
Yeah,
can for
there's
sure
nothing
play it
wrong with it.
in mid range Hunter, in aggro Hunter as well. It's 15 damage if you need to. Um, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Probably not the best one, but it's it's decent.
Yeah, I'm a fan of it. I think that this will, we will see this. It's got a lot of utility and it's easy to just throw in. Plus it's 6 mana, so you're going to be able to use this a lot faster. You don't have to wait till turn 10 to use it. Um,
Yep.
the So I saw here there's a couple of cards I want to throw out only because we're talking about how strong um, Hunter is today, and we all know there's that card Hollowhound. Love it, hate it. It's a very powerful card. Um, Absorbent Parasite makes it a little bit tougher.
Mhm.
Magnetic Rush can magnetize to mechs and beasts, so that's something there. And then we'll move back and forth. Always a better Jormungar is
Yep.
going to break things for Hunter. I think that this is the one of the strongest cards of the entire set. Of every card that's in this set, including the legendaries, and it's give a minion +2 attack and excess damage dealt by attacks. It hits the enemy hero. It's big. In
Yep.
Not only are you clearing the board, and I'm just looking at specific to, let's say it's
Mhm.
Hollowhound, or let's say it's the Rhino, or what have you.
Mhm.
This is a big deal. And when I was mentioning again, I hear people talking like they're saying, "Hey, guess what? We could just go ahead and remove tracking. We don't need tracking anymore. This would be an absolute replacement for tracking." So I'm excited to see this play. Um, I'm also excited for Titan Forge traps. If you have
Mhm.
like right now, I think there's only yeah, I don't think there's any major secrets being played in the Hunter specs that are right now, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't think
Probably,
there's a lot.
yeah. In mid-range hunters, you probably don't play secrets at all.
Right. So for 2 mana, having the ability to, have a secret if you need it, I like that. I like the idea of having
Mhm.
an extra utility in the deck and playing it that way. What do you think about Hordir, Father of Giants?
I feel like it's a little bit slow. Um, Not sure if I would like to play it in my deck, to be honest. I
Yeah.
feel like it's one of the weakest legendaries from the set.
Yeah. The art looks amazing, but I think I agree with you. I think it's a little
Yeah.
bit too weak. I like Starstrung Bow if you're running a secret
Mhm.
hunter deck, but that's about it. I wouldn't put this in the
Yep.
deck compared to anything else unless it's a secret deck specific. So that's highly targeted to a specific, archetype.
You can
Observer
probably
of
play
Myth.
it only with. Oh, sorry.
No,
You
go
can
ahead.
probably play it in Titan Force traps. Like you can slam Titan Force traps into mid-range hunter and then play
Okay.
Star Strong Bow, for example. Because even if you discount it by 1 mana, then it's already 5 mana. I mean, basically Leroy that you can use 2 times, right?
Right.
So
No, that makes
even
perfect
if you
sense.
discount it by yeah, even if you discount it by 2, then it's older Leroy that you can use 2 times. I mean before they nerfed it to 5 mana. It
Right.
used to be 4. Yeah. So I feel
No,
like you could
that's good.
potentially play it in some mid-range hunter only with either Titan Force traps or with some other secret. Not sure which one, but I'm sure it could be playable.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like I said, my main thing was, and I'm looking at the current state of Hunter right now, and I know it's not going to be different.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one-sided for me to have that conversation to where, hey, you're looking at it how it is by just adding these cards, but there's also 143 other cards from other classes, so everything's going to change. So
Yeah.
um I like I like Hunter now, just like Demon Hunter. I've been getting
Same.
more and more into that class, and it's because of Ron Mexico and Citizen. They're huge Hunter mains, and watching those decks being played are just amazing. What do
Oh
you
yeah.
think about these Awakening Tremors with the worms and the Fable Stable Hand? I think it's not needed right now.
Yeah. I feel like it's not going to be playable at all, at least
Yeah.
for now. I thought that the Awakened Tremors could be playable in the small or cute Hunter involved potentially, because I think free for 1 worms into the
Right.
hand is kind of powerful for that deck for 1 mana. So that could be potentially playable. Also, if you have Rhino on the board, it's 12 damage to face if you can land it. Not sure
If you could
if
land
it's
it.
going to be playable, but yeah, it's nice. And otherwise, I feel like Bait and Switch could be playable in Midrange Hunter for sure.
Right.
But Fable Stable Hand, I don't see it, at least for now.
Yeah, I don't see it either. There's many other things that I'd rather have, at least right now, based on the current cards that are in standard. I wouldn't switch that out for any of them. I can't think of. But
Mm,
yeah, I like I said, I think that Hunter has a lot of potential. I think Hunter doesn't need, out of all the classes, Hunter doesn't need a lot of help. And the
yep.
cards that they got, the few cards that they have, is just making it overpowered to the top. And at least one of those cards was probably one of the first nerf potentials of the entire set.
Mm,
Okay, let's go
yep.
to Mage. How are you with Mage? What do you think about Mage?
I like the different spell schools package. That's something I would like for each class to have at some point, probably.
Yep.
Because it feels nice to like play different spell schools in a class that usually doesn't have access to these spell schools.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that as well. And there's one of the spells, right? One of the cards is choose something from a spell school
yeah,
from any class, right?
you have never, yeah, you have not played this game.
Yeah, exactly. Norganon Titan. I think it's got potential here. I think it's awesome that it's 6 mana, but I think it's unawesome
Mm,
that it is 8 health. I think this is going to be very fast. The fact is, you're probably not going to get um, 2 of these abilities down, let alone 3 of them,
yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah. From the tier crafting streams, usually they killed all the titans before they could use the second ability. So
Exactly.
I feel like
Exactly.
this one is weak on its own, unless you get the second ability next round,
Right.
or if you play reverberations. That's also a combo, but I'm not sure if that's going to be good. So I feel like this one is also a little bit weaker than the rest of Titans,
Yeah, I think I
but
think
could
so
be
too.
playable. Yep.
In terms of the other cards, I love, like you said, the spell school package. Something that was brought to my attention today was Inquisitive Creation. I love this. It's just a fire
Yeah.
sale that is stronger with an actual mech on board. I like that. I didn't
It feels
notice that
like
originally.
wait, Farcell. It feels to me
So
like
it's
the
so
yeah.
fire sales what,
Go on.
4 mana or 3 mana deal
For
3 damage.
mana, deal
Right.
3 damage to all minions. Yep.
So that's fire sale just later on after you've played multiple spell schools, and it's also throwing something on the board that has mech synergy.
I feel like this is probably Apprentice. I mean, the comparison to Apprentice that used your hero
Okay.
power to deal damage to all the minions. Because that was also Farmana free for. But I feel like this can scale much quicker than the hero power stuff. So
Okay.
this is for sure one of the better cards for Mage in this set. And you
What do
probably
you
play it in all the mages.
right? What do you feel about
Because
Sith
yep.
besides an awesome awesome signature card?
You can see the signature by the way if you open the Sif.
Oh, that's right. Forgot about that. Look at that. That's just
Yeah,
gorgeous.
that's a sick art.
Yeah.
It's a little bit weird that the art is different, like a lot different
It's
than the
way
normal art.
different. Yeah. It's like
Yeah,
apples and
it's like
oranges.
yeah, it's like undead safe, and then she's like alive again. I don't know, but it's nice. I like this art a lot.
Yeah, I like
Yes.
this. I think it's a little bit too heavy on mana. I think it's,
Mhm.
it doesn't have it has too much mana for a 4/6. It's not going to last. So you need to have something in your hand that can be played that
Yeah,
turn.
it needs to be OTK.
It's not going to last, right? But it's
Needs to be
really cool.
OTK.
It's really cool.
Hmm.
Um I like The elemental inspiration. I think this one is super cool. And this is summon a 4 or 5 vortex with random bonus effects for each spell school you have cast this game, which means if you do 3
Mm-hmm.
different spell schools, you're getting 3 of these. They're each going to be 4 or 5, and they're each going to have a random bonus effect. So you're putting minions in your hand. I mean, you're putting minions in your deck on a deck that you don't normally have a lot of minions in. So I love the utility on this card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of stats for 7 mana. But I feel like from the other crafting
Absolutely.
streams, this card wasn't that powerful as many people thought. Because on turn 7, you were like outvalued by your opponent most of the time. But I still feel like if you had better deck, then it could be viable.
Okay.
Because they were forced to run 10 new cards, right? So because of the restrictions, I feel like
Right.
it wasn't the perfect build. And
Yeah,
if
and I
it's
agree.
better, then it's for sure playable. Because the stats it's great, it's insane.
Yeah, I think theory crafting is fun, but it's more fun than it is figuring out what the meta is
Yeah.
going to be. Because now without those restrictions of must include 10 cards, you can go nuts with that. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited with this. And then there's the one that we talked about, Discovery of Magic. 1 mana, discover a spell from a spell school you haven't cast this game from any class. So this card is nice. For 1 mana,
Yeah.
you're discovering, so you have 3 options there, and this could be utility based on what you're doing, and it's not a legendary, so you could do this twice. You could have 2 of these in
Yep.
there. It's super cool.
I love this one. It's
Yeah.
a perfect card. Also, I like the fact that it says from any class. It's a little bit different than the usual Burgle rogue stuff that they have, I believe,
Yes.
discovered from another class. This feels like a better version of that wording.
Now don't tell them that, because we don't want to give like any rogue class cards
True,
that
true,
says
true.
from any class. We don't want to do that.
Yeah,
Don't give them ideas. Um
I like this one though. Also, I need to point out that if you have played all the spell schools, you discover no cards, I believe. So that's
really.
something to keep. Yeah, because I've seen Zeddy play it on stream, and
Oh
he, for
yeah,
example,
that
this
makes sense.
he discovered 2 cards only, for example. So I believe if he discovered the 2 more spell schools, he would have gotten no cards at all.
Oof. Okay, so maybe you don't want this any more than 1 time in your deck.
I mean, you probably do want it 2 times because it's harder to discover
Yeah, just
spell
don't
schools that are not from your deck, but probably you don't want to discover it in the later in the
anymore.
game. Yeah,
Molten Rune is an amazing card. I love the card and I want to play the card.
same. It's also one of the better Forge cards.
Yeah. And look at this art. I think we both saw this one, Golden. I love
Yeah,
this art. I'm excited to play that one. I
sick.
think the elementals I could give or take. I'm not looking to play elemental mage, and this
Yeah,
one's
me neither.
okay, but you know, this card, the Chillomatic, the mech. I mean, listen, mech mage is super powerful. It was super powerful. It was fun to
Yep.
play, but this one I just don't see it being. I don't see this one being used. First of all, it's the artwork to me, and listen, I love the art. Like I said, this art is amazing. I think it looks a
Mhm.
little out of place. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. It just doesn't look like a Hearthstone card to me. What do you think?
Um, yeah, maybe a little bit. It
It's
feels like
cool.
AFK. It feels like AFK from Battlegrounds. Like
Yes.
it has the same posture and everything. I feel like
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, what are your final
maybe
thoughts
that's
on
why.
Mage?
I feel like it's possible to create some kind of OTK with what's it called? A 5 mana elemental and 3/5 that casts your arcane spell twice. It's not in the set, but you can play the 2 mana 2/2
Yep.
elemental because it says your next elemental costs 2 less. Wait,
Yep.
is it arcane? not sure how it's called, that legendary. But you can play this one, bank the discount, and then you can play 3 mana legendary, and then play a ton of spells for cheap, and you can potentially OTK. So that's something that could be possible viable. In Wild, you can play it with not sure how it's called, the 0 mana spell that your next elemental costs 2 less this turn. So you can play that spell, this elemental, and some other elemental. So you
Oh
can
wow.
potentially cheat
Okay.
something out on turn 1, or that's also something. Or you can play Chinvala. That's something that I wanted to try out, because you can Chinvala is 3 mana elemental for free spells that you cast this turn. It's once a 5/5 elemental. So you can potentially cheat out Chinvala early on, and then cast a bunch of spells and then get some 5/5s on the board.
So maybe I'm wrong.
So
Maybe there is something there with Elemental Mage again.
yeah, but probably not in standard.
Okay. Okay. Well, it'd be interesting to see. And plus,
Mhm.
my wife is a mage main, so she will definitely try working that out.
Yep.
Okay. Next up, discussion time for Paladin. Probably the most class out of all of them. I could be wrong. I love
Mhm.
Paladin, and I just don't see this being it. I see that the Titan is okay. It's cool. I'd throw it in a pure Pally deck, absolutely, but I don't know if many of the other cards are
Mhm.
it. What do you think about the Titan?
Yeah, I feel like you played in maybe some big Paladin, potentially in some what's it called, the Earth Golem Paladin, the new Jade Golem Paladin. You can probably
Right.
play that.
The
Because it
earthen one.
makes, yeah, the Earthen Golem package, because you can potentially play get the reinforced ability and get the the cards that generate the Earthen Giant and Earthen tokens or whatever, um, Earthen elementals, and you can buff them even, and they can get more than 2 damage at a time. So I feel like that could be potentially playable, maybe like tier 4, tier 3 at best.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, I don't really see this one being that powerful.
Yeah, I'm not sure right yet about the earthens. I'm
Yeah.
I want to like them, but and I've said this before on another video or what have you. Paladin needs to pick a lane. They've got,
Yeah.
Dragon Pally, they have Mech Pally now, they have Pure Pally, and then just adding
Yeah.
this in to me doesn't
Yeah. It
feel
feels
like
weird. Yeah.
it's
Same.
completely weird. In me, if I'm looking at
Oh,
this,
yeah.
unless there's more cards coming out that'll have this Earthen
In the mini
Golem,
set, maybe.
the mini set, but it's way too long. But see, that's the thing. We
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
not be having that conversation before
Mm-hmm.
they even come out that,
Yeah.
maybe there'll be some sort of synergy in mini set. I don't like that. Um,
Yeah.
Tier is cool if you're throwing the right cards back out, resurrecting them or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
This will be interesting to see how this is played. I love the artwork too, and the signature. Wait, we've got to look at the signature. Let's not forget that one. Look at that.
Yep.
It's just beautiful, beautiful. What's it, standing on the head of a dragon? Yeah, it looks like it, right? It's just
Um.
gorgeous.
Yeah. It could be something
Um,
he's late.
yeah. The other ones are just the same thing here. Like we
Mm-hmm.
have more of the 2/2 earthens. We have
Yeah.
resurrect the. I
Like,
just don't see it.
same. I like these small packages, like Relic Demon Hunter, then the Plague Death Knight.
Yes,
I like these small
100%.
packages, but this one feels super weird. Like the Earthens without taunt, they feel like they are not that impactful, and they are 4 mana. And there's only 2 minions, and they are 4 and 6 mana, and you need to build your deck around it so you can resummon them again. Like I just don't see it. Also, the epic card is just unworth it. Also feels a little bit weird for a paladin card. I don't
Yeah.
know why.
Yeah, I think it would be better if it was something that was not Earthens. I also think it would be better, like you
Yeah,
just said, if we got taunt to them or something else, that might sway my vote, but I just don't see it.
and at least one more card with
Yeah,
Earthens.
exactly, exactly. Judge Unworthy, I don't see it being used. It's too heavy of a card for the one use, and
Yep,
right now with what we're seeing, there's not a lot of minions out there that we're going to be fighting around turn 4 that are just 1 damage. We're
yep.
not going to kill anything, except for
Yeah, there
whatever
is
we
no
turn 1 to 1 health. You
yeah,
know.
there is no big warlock.
Right. Repair bots, the mechs are cool. So with the new mechs that came out with standard and what have you, and the mechs that are out
Yep.
and the mechs that are in the neutrals of this expansion, I think Mech Paladin is our only hope right now. If we're not talking about pure Paladin, because
Yep.
I don't think Dragon's it either. Like the only one dragon that's in there at the end of your turn, if this didn't attack, draw 2 cards. For 4 mana, I'm putting something else in the deck. I don't see this,
Hmm.
and especially with the dragon synergy that's over there. But mechs I could deal with because this one, the X-21 repair bot, Death Rattle. Return any mechs magnetized to this to your hand, and then we have this one, Noble Mini Bot. After this attacks, give a random minion in your hand +1/+1. That plus Inventor's Aura, which is your mechs cost 1 less last 2 turns. Mech Paladin has something 100%,
Yep. Feel the same.
especially with Ziliax. And now Ziliax is that gorgeous diamond card.
Diamond card.
We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see that being played a lot more. Okay, so the real question is here. What are your thoughts on Priest? In
Priest. It
general
feels
sense.
in a general sense, I like Priest. I like Control
Okay.
Priest. But I feel like the direction they went the last few sets is not what I would want to see from Priest.
Okay.
Just because they have unlimited generation, I feel like Svalna shouldn't have existed ever. Because like it creates these games that can last for a draw, and that just something I don't like. Like I like cards that generate some value, and potentially they can generate, for example, one additional value from that card that they generated. Like for example, Amantul, um, but or a Dragon Queen Alexstrasza back in the day that
Right.
generated some dragons, and that dragon could have created some other dragon. But yeah, like Svalna, I just didn't like that card at all. The
Do
unlimited
you
generation.
do you think they've went in a better direction with these cards today?
These cards feel super weird to me. Like I feel like they are not playable at all, except the Forge card, and maybe
Okay.
um, maybe some 2 other cards. Like they created some weird mixes this expansion, like transform priest with Raden that has anti-synergy because you can transform Raden into some different card and then you just can't play it. Um, I don't know. I wish Raden. It's super weird to me. I like this expansion. I like Amantul, um, but Raden, that's just and other stuff feels super weird to me.
Yeah.
Like it
I
has
mean,
no place right now. I feel like.
to get into it, my main thing with Priest is I like fast games. My opinion is I like games that last less than 10 minutes. You don't see that with Priest.
Mhm.
Priest is a never ending barrage of you trying to fight it, and it just counter, counter, counter. It has something for everything.
Mhm.
Everything that you try to build up on your board or try to build up for what you're doing, Priest just counter, counter, counter. And that's fine. It's just that's why I'm not sure of it. Um,
Mhm.
I like certain elements. I like the shadow priest, and or the undead shadow priest
Yep.
or whatever you want to call it. And I think I like that because the games are cut in half almost.
Mhm.
This one is going to be an RNG fest because it's hard to take stuff off the board when it's priest. It's been like that forever. And then this one is discover any legendary minion. How RNG are you going to get with that? And plus, like, you know, every single one of these has the ability to just disrupt what you're doing. And listen, Priest is good at disruption. But, you know, put this card in with a 20-minute game, I'm not a happy camper, me personally. And I know there's Priest mains. Wicked Good is a Priest main, and I do not want to say that, oh yeah, this is terrible, because each, you know, to each their own. It's just, I'm looking at this and like, okay, we'll see, Rada. And like you said, summon each other minion you've played this game that didn't start in your deck. That is broken. It's just, let's steal a bunch of your stuff, let's generate a bunch of stuff that didn't exist, and then let's go ahead and let's just play them again in a little bit. This one's crazy.
I feel like it would have been better if it was Battle Cry. Because you could have, for example, played like bunch of astral automatons, generate some copies of them, and then play Raden and instantly get the automatons on the board. Like, that's basically Jade Columns. But
I'm not even talking
it's still
about those though.
Yeah, I know. But
like,
I feel like that would be possible.
I'm not thinking of astral automatons being an issue. I'm thinking of all the other cards that are out for Priest right now that either disrupt or take something from your deck or turn something into your, you know, something different in your deck, the one that goes back and forth.
Yeah.
The Plague. That's what I'm worried about. And I think I would be even more upset. I think it's better, in me personally, playing against Priest, I think it's better that Raden has it as a death rattle, not a battle cry. I think I would cry if it was a battle cry. So for those that want to have that craziness, that's cool. Like this, the stars align, 3 mana, transform minions in your hand into ones that cost 3 more. Those 2 cards settle it. Like, look at what that's going to do. That's nutty. So in less than 10 mana, you can do that much disruption if you have a bunch of minions in your board that you didn't have in before. That's what I'm nervous about. And then this one, Shapeless Constellation, Battlecry. Transform it into an 8/8 copy of a random minion in your hand. Now, wouldn't that one come back because it didn't start in your deck? Possibly.
Yeah, probably not, because you have played this card and not that that copied card.
Okay.
Because for Raden, you need to play that card.
False Disciple, Battlecry, discover a legendary priest minion from the past. I'm not playing Astral Automaton at all. There's just too much other stuff over here that's busted.
Yeah. Yep.
Discover a copy of a minion. Yeah, the Forge is pretty cool. I like
this.
Discover a copy of a minion.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, I like that.
More behemoths.
Oh, look at that. The art is amazing.
Yeah, they're duplicating themselves now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's a little busted. Serenity, give all enemy minions, -2 attack, destroy any with 0 attack. I like that holy spell. That's cool, because at least you have a shot. Grace of the High Father. Restore 8 health. Discover a card that costs the amount over healed. Okay. Shuffle a copy into this in your deck with a permanent +3/+3. I don't know. I'm looking at this and I don't, like I said, I do not want to hate on Priest. I do not, you know, it's just the way it is. But if I'm looking for a disruption deck, it would absolutely be, or a random thing, it would absolutely be Priest. I'm kind of impressed on how potentially broken this could be. Agree, disagree?
Potentially.
Yeah.
I feel like the randomness is not that great. It usually, because the random cards, you probably don't want random cards because like the stats and the anti-synergy with your deck is something you need to keep in mind. And random cards are just worse than cards that you put into your deck. So I'm not that scared about this priest archetype with random stuff.
No, I agree. I see your point on that. I just know that playing against a priest with these cards, they're gonna get the broken things that win the game.
Yeah,
That's our luck, you know.
yeah,
All
it
right.
can be annoying.
So we had to break this recording up. First of all, we got right up to about Rogue, and then rolling blackouts in my area. The power went out multiple times. So what we're gonna do is Imik and I are going to record the rest, and we're gonna split this up into 2 batches. So stay tuned, probably in the next 24 hours or so, for the Rogue through Warrior cards. We're gonna keep on going through those because it was a great conversation. And Imik, you have to follow him on Twitter. You have to follow all of his work on Hearthstone. He's just an amazing intellectual person who has a passion for Hearthstone. So special thanks to Imik for doing such an awesome job and hanging out with me and talking about our favorite game. So stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe.